All right, let's talk about something that can look a little intimidating in math. Radical numbers. You know, the ones with the little square root signs. But don't worry, we're going to tackle this in a really fun way, by following a kind of magical adventure.
So let's set the scene. Imagine a place called the Radical Kingdom, deep in the land of mathematics. This is where these mysterious numbers live, and our whole goal is to tag along with an adventurer and figure out how to speak their language.
Okay, so here's our game plan, our map for the journey. We're following our hero, Elif. We'll kick things off with her quest, make our way through the Square Forest, climb Simplification Mountain, trek through Addition Valley, and our final stop is the Wisdom Temple. Each place, it's a new piece of the puzzle.
All right, first stop, the mysterious quest. This is where we meet our hero, Elif. She's a super curious explorer from a place called the Village of Plain Numbers.
Okay, now we're entering the secret of the Square Forest. And this is where Elif hits her very first challenge. And it's a big one. What even is a square root?
So this is the first big aha moment. Elif learns that the square root sign isn't just a weird symbol. It's actually asking a question. It's saying, hey, what number, when you multiply it by itself, gives you the number inside me? So like the square root of 9 is just asking, what times what is 9? And boom, the answer is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. Simple as that.
And once she gets it, it's like everything clicks into place. She starts spotting them all over the forest. The square root of 1, well, that's just 1. The square root of 4, that's 2. 9 is 3, 16 is 4. You get the idea. She realizes this whole forest is full of what are called perfect squares. These are the easy ones, the ones that give you a nice, clean whole number.
All right, Elif's conquered the forest. Next up, the Wisdom of Simplification Mountain. And this is where things get a little trickier. She's got to learn how to find the numbers hidden inside the more complicated radicals. So she gets to the top, and there it is, her next challenge, the square root of 50. Now this isn't a perfect square, right? You can't multiply a whole number by itself to get 50. It looks messy. But here's the secret. It's hiding one of those friendly perfect squares inside of it. It's a puzzle waiting to be solved.
So how do you do it? The trick is to break the number down. Think about what multiplies to make 50. And there it is, 25 times 2. And wait a second, 25. That's one of our perfect squares from the forest. Since we know the square root of 25 is 5, that 5 gets to escape the square root sign. The poor little 2 has to stay inside. So the square root of 50 is just a simpler way of saying 5 times the square root of 2. Pretty cool, right? And now that she's got this new superpower, she starts practicing on everything she sees. She looks at the square root of 72. That's 36 times 2, so it simplifies to 6 root 2. The square root of 18, that's 9 times 2, so it's 3 root 2. She's really getting the hang of it now. The simplifying thing, it's a huge part of understanding these radical numbers.
Okay, mountain climbed. Now Elif's journey takes her down into the rule of the Addition Valley. It's one thing to simplify these numbers, but how do you get them to, well, be friends and combine?
And it turns out the rule here is super simple. Think of it like fruit. You can add 2 apples and 5 apples to get 7 apples. But you can't add 2 apples and 3 oranges and call it 5 apple oranges, right? It's the same with radicals. If the number inside the root is the same, like the square root of 3, you can add them. So 2 root 3 plus 5 root 3 is just 7 root 3. But if they're different, like a root 2 and a root 5, nope, they can't be added. They have to stay separate.
All right, this is it, the final stage of the journey. Elif arrives at the Wisdom Temple. And, you guessed it, there's a final test waiting for her, one that's going to pull together everything she's learned so far.
And there on the temple door is the final puzzle. What's the square root of 8 plus the square root of 18? Now, if this were Elif from the start of her journey, she'd say, nope, can't do it, 8 and 18 are different. But she's learned a thing or two. She knows there might be more to this.
So here's what's going through her head. She's thinking, wait a minute, Simplification Mountain. She takes that first number, the square root of 8. She knows that's just the square root of 4 times 2, which simplifies to 2 root 2. Then she looks at the square root of 18. That's 9 times 2, which simplifies to 3 root 2. And there it is. Suddenly, they are like terms. They were just in disguise. And now the rest is easy. 2 root 2 plus 3 root 2, that's just 5 root 2. And with that, the temple doors swing open. She's done it. She gets the Wisdom Medal because she has truly mastered the language of the Radical Kingdom.
So what's the big takeaway here? What did Elif and we learn? Well, first, a square root is just a question. Second, always look to simplify by hunting for those perfect squares hiding inside.
Third, you can only add or subtract if the number in the root is the same. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, that you can take a big, scary-looking problem and solve it just by breaking it down into smaller, easier parts.
And that really gets to the heart of it. Elif realized that math isn't just about getting the right answer. It's about the journey, It's about the discovery, the process of figuring things out. That's the real magic of it.
So Elif's adventure was all about radical numbers. But these kinds of journeys, these puzzles to solve, they're everywhere. So that leaves just one question for you. What's your next journey of discovery going to be?